Thank you, Wendy, for doing this interview today. So this is Wendy Wilson with WK Pet Services. So I'm really excited to talk about what oils you use for your animals personally, but then also what oils you use every day, and going into so many different houses and helping other pets and different things. So do a little intro. Talk about what you do, what is your business, and what you do every day.
Sure. Well, as she said, I'm Wendy Wilson. I've been doing Young Living for about almost 3 years, but I've had my pet sitting services for going on about 6 years. And what I do is I do daily dog walks. So if people have to work all day, I have a client that's got a new puppy. So we're going over a couple times a day to let the puppy out and have potty breaks and do a little bit of training. And then I also do pet sit. So if somebody's out of town, we'll go over to someone's house 3 or 4 times a day, depending on what they, what their needs are. Mm-hmm. And we let their dogs out, or we've got some cats that we're checking on this week. So just all kinds of good stuff. Like I said, I've been doing that for about 6 years. And even through COVID, we've stayed fairly busy, and we've had some people working at home, but our clients find quite a service with us. Just a well-exercised dog is a well-behaved dog. So we are still walking dogs.
That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm going to mute whoever else jumped on here, making sure that we have a clear audio. Oh my gosh. So 6 years, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. So what do you do? You walk the dogs, but you also pet sit as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And we do dogs, mostly dogs and cats, but we'll have a few other animals that we have to take care of, but mainly dogs and cats.
Got it.
And what I do, I wear oils all the time. So I'm a faithful user of oils. And I think that's probably one of the best things you can do for your animals is get them used to you using oils. Mm-hmm. And being, having oils. I recommend that with people with puppies to make sure to get them introduced to oils. Because what we don't want to do is just start, diffusing and putting oils on animals who are very sensitive, even more sensitive than we are. Uh-oh, I think we blinked out again. I think we're froze.
Oh no, we have some signal stuff going on.
There we go. Having oils, I recommend that with people.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yes, we're having a little bit of signal stuff. Kimberly is on, so you can say hey to Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
Love it.
Good to see you.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, I think we blinked it.
There we go. Okay. It keeps bringing you on the voice of the other one every time. Okay, got it. All right. Oh, are those your babies?
Those are my babies barking in the background.
Yes. So what kind of dogs do you have right now?
So I've got a 8-year-old black lab that has Addison's disease. So I am very faithful with oils around her. And mainly because Sadie has a lot of anxiety, especially because she has to go to the vet once a month and get an injection. And then Hannah has a 3-year-old golden retriever. And then we have Shane's 4-year-old husky mix. And although they're not always here, they're here quite a bit. Our connection is just not good, is it? Doggone it.
Right now.
There we go.
There we go. I don't know what the wonkiness is. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. All right. So tell me why you started using oils for yourself and why you use them with your pets.
Well, I've actually used essential oils for years, but I started after you had taught a class, and I learned a lot more about oils and learned about the safety of oils. And I exclusively use Young Living because they're seed to seal. So that means that Young Living plants the seed until it's sealed in the bottle. They are in charge of all that process. And so, you can buy oils on Target and Amazon and Walmart, and they will say that they're pure. But as we know from a lot of foods and different things, that doesn't mean they're 100% pure. So I trust Young Living. And I know a lot of people ask me, are oils safe with animals? I say Young Living oils are safe. And I had just attended a class last week, and pretty much any of the oils that are in Young Living's line are going to be safe for your pets. Now, that doesn't mean you just, put them on your animals like we would on us. We have to test for sensitivities. So absolutely, oils are safer for animals.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask that for sure, because I think that is a huge question across everybody is, yes, I can apply oils to myself, but are they safe for kiddos and animals and all these things? So like you said, absolutely that they're safe. And that is super huge. But you're only talking about using Young Living oils. Okay, I got that. Now, what about techniques on how to apply them? Because you're saying it's different than humans, right?
Well, absolutely. And you have to think too, animals are super sensitive. I mean, they're more sensitive than us. Their nose, their hearing, their eye, they're just more sensitive to us. And also, animals are much more connected to the earth. So they actually react very well to oils. Now, as far as different ways, I mean, for people, we can diffuse them, which I have my diffuser back here. I'm diffusing some peace and calming right now. And then we can put them on us topically. So you can put them directly on your skin, or you can ingest them. And actually, animals can take the oils the same way, although you need to be very careful. Like Sadie, because she's been around oils for so long, I can put it directly on her skin. But Jax, the golden retriever, is very sensitive. I do not ever put oils directly on his skin because he's just so sensitive. So I actually put it in his hands and then pet him, and rub it down his spine. So I use it on my hands to him versus, see, I just take the bottle and just put it on the back of her neck. So 3 different ways, just like people, we can diffuse, we can take them internally, or we can use them topically.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
There we
can you
go.
hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
so
we're bleeping.
yes, it's okay. That happens. We do have a question though. You talked about testing oils with animals and how to apply them to test and see how they're going to respond to them and things like that. So what is the best way for testing oils with your animal?
I say the best way is, first of all, that you use the oils yourself. So you have them, that scent on you.
Mm-hmm.
Is a great way to introduce them. And also diffusing. Diffusing is a good way, and allowing them to have a room to get away from. So you wouldn't want to diffuse in your bedroom with your door shut. You would want to have it in an open area, and then, just check for their sensitivity. You'll know. Like I said, Jackson, as soon as I get a bottle of oil out, he's running and hiding, although he knows that they're good for him. And he's never had like a reaction. He's never gotten sick or anything. He's just super sensitive. He has a super sensitive nose. You can, sometimes you can just put them, Beth and I have made little collar tags that you can just put on a piece of leather and put it next to their body, or even maybe on a blanket next to their kennel, so it's not directly on them. And I have some of my dogs, I mean, Sadie will come up and lick a bottle of oil if I let her. Now, of course I don't, because we have some hot oils and we obviously wouldn't want dogs doing that. But like I said, Jackson runs. Sadie, nope, she would lick a bottle of oil. So yes, just be very sensitive to animals, and you'll know, and especially in puppies, you just want to be really careful with puppies because they're so small and they're super sensitive as well.
Okay, so a lot of great information in there. So each dog or pet, right, has a different personality and different response to different oils, just like humans do. So, but like you said, the best way is really diffusing, where it's open in the air, where they can get out of the area if they're feeling like they're not having a good response with that oil. Not necessarily an allergic response, but something they're like, hey, I'm not a fan of that oil. And then also, I really like what you said about being our own personal diffuser, because I know that it helps them kind of connect that how they feel with you, like if they trust you, right, as their human, as their person. And then if you are doing something that has a different scent, things like that, then it can. It's so wonky.
There we go. We're back.
Okay. Yes. So we just talked about kind of just reviewing what you had said. And I definitely think being our own personal diffuser for our animals, especially in the very beginning, I think is a great idea too. I definitely agree. Okay, so those are great ways to kind of introduce the oils, things like that. Now, what about techniques on applying them? You did talk about like petting them, diffusing it. What other ways are ways that we can kind of get oils into their system?
Absolutely. Well, Sadie, I have my TOA right here. Sadie, this is TOA, which is, we actually, Young Living has a whole line while we're talking about that. These are the actual animal scent line. So these are formulated specifically for animals, which are really awesome. I actually have the whole line. I mean, I'm not going to go into all of them, but there's Infect-Away, Mend-Well. The TOA is more of a stress. And Sadie, because she is not super sensitive, so the same place that you would put flea medicine on the back of their neck, I can actually open this and just put a couple drops on her neck. And then I usually just kind of rub it in, and it calms Sadie down tremendously. And I know, Beth, you've got a little guy that's hyper, and it's like, oh, we're going to have a little TOA. And within, I'd say 15 minutes, they are so relaxed. Another way I do it is, I'll just put a couple drops into my hand, rub it together, and then I rub them from basically the back of their head down the back all the way to their tail. Is a really good place to put oils.
Yes.
Have you experienced putting oils in other ways on your dogs?
Right. I think there's definitely lots of ways. I think those are the most common for sure. Some people have heard about putting oils in their water. I think that is an approach, but I definitely wouldn't jump there first. Like you said, being very careful. There's a saying that I've heard a lot of go slow and start low. And I think that that's true for children, for anybody using oils, especially for animals because they're smaller, like you said, absolutely. But that can be a way to introduce oils into their system. Again, not in the beginning, but getting them in their system. And then also just having them lick it out of your hand. I know that you've done some of that with your pets, I think, in the past too, right?
I have done that with Sadie for sure, because she's my least sensitive. Yes, just like a drop. And you could even, if you wanted to, put some type of carrier oil that, they are not going to be sensitive to, maybe like a coconut oil, to kind of, dilute it down. You brought up a good point with water. There is a method of, I think we're blinking out. There's a method of putting oils in their water to help with their breath. But you always want to make sure that you have a second bowl of water. You don't want to just force those oils on them.
There we go.
Did you hear that? I was talking about
so you brought up about water. Go ahead.
Yes, I was talking about water. You can put certain oils into their water that helps out with breath, but you always want to make sure you have a separate bowl of water without oils. You always want to give dogs, well, and cats, all animals, an access to get away from the oils if they want to. Absolutely. So separate bowl of water. I have not tried the breath one because we got 3 big dogs in the house, so we use a huge water jug, and it just isn't feasible. But something I definitely want to try.
Right. I definitely don't necessarily always agree with that too, because I do have multiple dogs, like you said. But I have done like more of a cleaning, because you're talking about breath, cleaning their teeth with specific oils, or you can actually use some of the Thieves toothpaste. Even use Thieves mouthwash, as long as it's really diluted as well. So we know that these products are 100% all natural. And so really the opportunities to help our pets is just endless, I absolutely love that.
Absolutely. And that brings up a good point. When you said dilute. You want to dilute a lot when you're using any of the oils with the animals. Now, like I said, with the actual the line, the animal scent line, I don't dilute those because those are already diluted. But any of your oils, like in your starter kit, you definitely want to dilute those. You don't want to just take, 5 drops of lavender and just start petting your dog with it. You definitely want to go slow.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And then you brought up a good point too, so I just want to clarify, you're saying that we don't have to just use the animal scent line. We can use other oils with our pets too, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I have a few favorites that I use. I use with my animals all the time.
Well, that's great. Why don't you tell us some of your top favorite oils to use in general, or also with your pets as well?
Perfect. Well, one of the ones, well, I've got my lavender here, so I'll use that. Of course, I use lavender. Lavender's a really good training oil. It's also, I've got one in a spray bottle with some water, and I'll just spray down their bed before bedtime just to make it calming. So lavender is definitely one of my favorites. This isn't an actual oil, but this is all made of oils. If you can see this, this is my own doggy air spray. Probably this is my top favorite. And the reason why is we have a swimming pool, and the golden retriever swims. He would swim 24/7 if we would let him. So when we first opened our pool a couple of years ago, he swam every day. And I had found, and I'll just grab the recipe. It is basically some thieves spray, some V6 or some type of carrier oil, lemongrass, copaiba, and purification. And then you add distilled water, and then we just lift the dog's ear and just spray it, not into the canal. You never want to put oils down into the ear canal, but spray the outside, just kind of rub his ears. And he's had one ear infection, and it was because it was after the pool was closed. We had given him a bath, and I didn't even think about drying out his ears like I do. And about a month in, his ears were so inflamed, we ended up with a like $350 emergency vet bill. And because the ear infection, they had to basically flush out his ears. So the next day, take him to the vet for a follow-up, put him on an antibiotic that he had a reaction to. So he was on Benadryl, and I'm just not going to go through that again. And that's been 2.5 years now. So this is like key. It's really for ear infections, but we use it just to keep from that infection coming on. So definitely, I mean, it's all oils. Definitely my favorite oils. And then
can I ask something else too? Well, just
absolutely.
About that. So that brings us a really good point that I didn't even think about sometimes. So depending on the dog and the makeup of their body, they might need more support in different areas. Like you said, the ones with the longer ears are not going to get some of the oxygen and not clear out ears very well. But I'm thinking like pugs, right? They've got everything all shoved up in here. So maybe some helping cleaning out too. So it really just depends on what your dog is needing. And
absolutely
personalize oils in any way that they need, right?
Absolutely. No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And probably my last oil that I use quite a bit on my dogs is frankincense. I have fallen in love with frankincense in the last year. So anytime we get a doggy boo-boo, because the golden retriever, I'm going to talk about him because he's running and playing, and he tends to tear the pads on his feet. I'll take a couple drops because he's my sensitive guy. I'll take a couple of drops in my hand, rub it together. Sometimes I'll use a carrier oil, and then I just rub his paws down, and then I'll just kind of pet his belly and let that frankincense kind of go into the skin. Within a few days, those little pads have healed up. And I've always had issues with dogs that just run hard. They play ball and they run so hard that they tear up their pads, or they bleed somewhere, or they tear a nail. And there's not really much you can do. You can't put a Band-Aid on it. You can put like a little cast thing, but they don't like wearing things on their feet. So frankincense, probably one of my absolute favorite oils for dogs. Any type of healing, heal them up.
Yeah, no,
heal up those wounds.
Great idea. I love that. And then you're not concerned about them licking it off then, right?
Absolutely not. Again, I usually, especially with my sensitive dog, again, it goes back to knowing your dogs. I will use a carrier oil, especially on Jax, because he's just so sensitive. But if he licks it, now it's just going into his system, and it's just going to help him even more.
Oh, wow. That's such a big relief because, when we think about traditional medications and ointments and all of that, those are not edible, and
no.
And I think that's one of the biggest struggles, I think, with when a dog gets a surgery or has some sort of a scrape or something, is that they're always going to go back to it. But if whatever we're putting on it is all natural, then there's no concern there then, right?
Absolutely. Oh. And actually, I've got a story. I grabbed my notes because I had to write this down. So Liza, the Husky mix. So you can use Young Living supplements too. I don't know if people know that. So,
okay.
Young Living has a whole supplement line. And I actually just bought the supplement book that shows like all the supplements and, conditions, and you can go in and look at it. But here's my supplement story. So one morning, Scott had gotten up to get ready for work, went in to get a glass of water, had set his vitamins on the bed, came back, they were all gone. So Liza ate Super B, Super C, Juvitone, Super Cal Plus, and Prostate Health.
Oh my
So
God.
I literally went into, and you're probably gonna ask this, but where do I get my information? I actually
Yeah.
have this wonderful essential, oil book for animals. This is my Bible. So I went in and looked up every one of those oils that Liza ate, and every single one of those oils was listed in the supplements as safe for dogs. So of course, I kept an eye on her for a few days because that was a lot to take into one sitting. And she's
Mhm.
probably 60 pounds. So she's
Okay.
not a little dog. Kept an eye on her because you always want to venture on the side. I mean, you want to check with your vet. Obviously, if something's going on with your fur babies, you don't want to just, oh, let's grab oils and not worry about it. You always want to consult with a vet to make sure that you're being safe. But with this, I just watched her and she was fine, no problems at all. And typically, when you use supplements with dogs, you would break open the capsules and just shake the powder out on a treat or in their food,
Hmm.
make sure they have water. And but she took the full on capsule. So yeah, she had lots of energy. That super bee, like she needed more energy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. What a big relief, though, that you knew that she was going to be okay after you looked it all up. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like you said, how do you know all of this, though? You talked about this book. I mean, what else are you using to know all of this?
Well, this is, like I said, this is my Bible, and I'd be happy that anybody watches this. If you have questions, there's some really good recipes in here for, that's how I think I found the ear spray. There's something for, that you put in their water to help with bad breath. I also have joined a couple of our different Young Living Facebook groups. The Brew Zoo, I know, I think is it Lara? I think that's how you say
Clara. Uh-huh.
her.
Yeah.
She is awesome. I mean, a few of us have attended her class last week, and she's got a page on Facebook. It's called the Brew Zoo. And I go in there and just like in the oil quintessential, you just go in and put your topic in and it will tell you, what she recommends. So those are a couple
Wow.
of good resources.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't get any like professional training, but I think probably from your resources, but then also your experience has kind of trained you on what to do, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, okay. How do you feel about using all natural products with your pets now that you're using them for a while? Do you notice a difference, and why you started using all natural products in the first place?
I have noticed a difference. Sadie, when we first got her, because she has Addison's disease, it basically their adrenal glands don't produce steroids, so their energy level goes down, way down. So I diffuse a lot of uplifting type oils, your lemons and anything pepper, uplifting type things.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that her energy. I mean, she's 8 years old, and that's for a labby, that's
Yeah.
she's getting up there, but that
Mhm.
girl, she can run. So I've noticed that with her, which I used to have a chocolate lab, and poor baby, we didn't use oils. I'm not saying that that's all the reason, but he did not do well as he got older in life. He didn't do well with stairs, he didn't do well with playing. And so that, and then also I use thieves religiously. So if I'm in cleaning around my counter, I just spray thieves all over. If it's going down and getting around the dogs, I know that that's going to be safe. So their water bowl, I've got the big 5 gallon. I clean out their water bowls with thieves, and I just noticed a huge difference with. I don't even know the last time we took any of our dogs, with the exception of the ear infection, for any type of illness. And I've had Sadie for, well, over half the time. I've had her for about 5 years, and I've been doing Young Living for over 3. So I think we're doing something right.
Wow. So they're helping them age better, giving them more energy. And then obviously, like you said, the using the all natural thieves cleaner, like I'm sure that gives you such a relief because at my house, I have kiddos, I have pets, I have all kinds of things. And it's like, I don't want anybody to get sick over a cleaner or get into a cleaner that will make them
Absolutely.
sick, right? So when I started using the thieves cleaner, it was a game changer. It was so much easier to just know that it was okay no matter what I was cleaning. It was going to be okay because I had the thieves cleaner. But then, when you think about the effects of all of the toxic cleaners that I did use in my home, which I didn't know about, right? But
Right?
then as I looked into them, I knew how bad they were, and I knew that they were affecting my pets too. So I think that the Thieves All-Purpose Cleaner, I agree with you, is crazy, crazy good. Definitely.
Absolutely. Not exactly an oil, but definitely one of my absolute favorite products. I mean, I use that to clean out the bottom of their tray where their water
Mm.
comes out of the dispenser. I use
Mm-hmm.
it to clean their dog bowls. I use it to clean everything. And like I said,
Wow.
I just spray it all over the counters. I don't have to worry about them if they're standing in there. I actually started even using it for my floors.
Yeah, that's awesome because really you think about who's the closest to the floor when you're cleaning the floors, right? It's going to be your pets, unless you have little kids around, but it's going to be your pets. They're going to be the ones possibly licking the floor, right? When you drop something or whatever, they're going to be licking
Absolutely.
up a lot of those cleaners. So I think you're absolutely right. We have to think about as pet owners, as parents in general, we have to think about their future and what toxic things we're using for them, whether that be a cleaner or, like you said, the supplements. I think that's a great idea. And you said that you use the cleaner, the supplements, and the oils with them, right? All from Young Living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing, we also have a bearded dragon, but just kind of a side note. So this book, this essential oil book, I had looked it up for reptiles because her name's Elizabeth. She's the bearded dragon, and she was a little bit lethargic. So it said that it was safe to give them ninja. So I put just a couple drops of ninja into her water. And within a few days, she was back to her perky self, just,
Wow.
being a bearded dragon herself. Bearded dragons are very social, so they like to be out, and they're just very social animals. They're very sweet. And yeah, so I used that on her. And I bought the ninja wolf berries, that you can eat. They're kind of like a raisin. I've given her those as well, which just
Oh,
helps her digest and just helps her, be healthy and safe. So yeah,
wow.
these oils work for all animals. There's horses, cats, dogs. I mean, just about any animal you could think of.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we're only just doing kind of an introduction on who you are, how you use oils every day. Did you say that you use oils with some of your clients too, if approved? But how does that work?
Absolutely. And those are definitely things that I've talked to a client. I'm diffusing the oils on myself, of course. But if I have a lot of clients that reach out and say, okay, I've got a torn nail, or, I've got a dog with an upset stomach. And so I do lots of recommendations for people. And I've even made, a few little sample bottles and given them to people to try instead of, the going to the vet and getting an ointment that costs hundreds of dollars that not necessarily works. I have
Wow.
a Doberman. One of my clients has a Doberman, and he was getting like hot spots. So I made a little hot spot. And within like a few days, his hot spots had cleared up. And the client's asking, okay, what is this stuff? I want more. I don't want to get this stuff from the vet because the dog licks it off.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep,
Wow.
all my clients know. And something I've started doing too is when I finish up a pet sit with someone's house, I leave them just a little bottle of thieves cleaner and kind of wipe down counters, and especially during these times when we
Mm.
need to be really safe when we're at other people's homes and touching things. So I just take little thieves cleaner and just clean up counters, and it's been received very well. People love it.
Hmm. Wow, that is amazing. Okay, so we have a question really quick and then we'll wrap up. So they're curious what the hotspot blend is and how did it work? Like, how do you use it?
Absolutely. Oh, I think you're blinking out a little bit. I'm
Oh,
gonna look it up real quick. Oh,
okay.
are we back? Oh, you're there.
I can hear
My
you.
screen.
You're just
Okay,
frozen.
well
I
my
can hear
my
you.
screen's okay, good. The screen's frozen, but I can see you. Let me
Okay,
just look
okay.
it up real quick, and we can always post this later if we want to.
That's a good idea.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's gonna just be really quick.
So what I love about what you're doing is you don't have everything memorized.
Oh,
I love that.
I wish. I wish I did. So hotspots, there's several different things. I mean, there's some singles, which includes lavender, some lemongrass. Then there's blends like
You are
Melrose,
actually frozen.
Infectuate.
There we go. Okay.
There
I
we go.
can hear you. If you want, yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead and just post it.
yeah. Why don't I just post it? And I want to say, I'm going to look. I believe that there's an actual recipe as well.
Okay.
Yes, there is. There's a couple of recipes. And then and one of them, it's for dogs that lick, and that's what causes problems with hot spots. So it's basically some Melrose, some patchouli, and then some animal sense ointment, which is this
Oh,
little guy, and this stuff is awesome too.
yeah.
And then you just apply it several times. But I'll put a recipe out there
Okay,
because
that'd
that's
be
super
great.
important, especially right now in this
Oh,
time.
yeah,
Hot spots.
absolutely. So one more thing as we wrap up. So if people have questions, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, I've got a Facebook page for my pet services. It's, WK's Pet Services or Wendy Wilson. I'm also part of all your groups, Beth, the moms,
Okay.
hacks. Yeah, any of those resources would work.
Okay. Okay. And so people can reach out to you if they have questions on just experiences, with you and what your experience is in certain areas. And then if they have any pet questions, they can still reach out, but you would encourage them to do what?
To get answers, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Where would they go to
Yes.
find answers?
Yeah, definitely reach out. I would say join some of the Facebook groups that are specific for animals and young living. I would definitely look for the groups for young living, like the
Okay.
Bruzu.
Mhm.
But I think that has been the best thing that I could do with young living is to join groups because I appreciate you and love you to death, Beth, but you can't answer everybody's questions all the time. And a lot of times we can get that information. So join those Facebook groups and
Okay.
ask those questions because somebody in there has experienced that and can give some really good advice.
Okay. Yes, no, I definitely agree. I think Facebook groups are amazing because, like you said, you can find your own answer. Definitely ask the question in groups and different things like that. But I definitely think, um, you know, when you are midnight, right, in the middle of the night or early morning or something like that, I think having places to go that you can find the answer for, I think is more empowering than just waiting on just someone to respond back, right? And I think
Absolutely.
that says something about Young Living products as well. Like you said, there's so many groups because there are so many people that use Young Living oils, and I think that they're so versatile. You could go into a group about using oils with kiddos or babies and things. You can go into another group about animals. And so it's just endless. And I think you're right. I think hooking up with the right resources and support is really the best way to get going and to make sure that you get all your questions answered to know where to go. So I definitely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Beth, anybody that's on our team is included in some of the Facebook Messenger groups. That's always, I try to be timely if it's something that I can answer or I know that you're busy and can't answer. That's what we're all there is to help each other and throw in comments or what's worked for us, what hasn't worked for us.
Right, right. And I think just being honest too, you know what, I've never seen that one, but if I was having, being presented with that issue or whatever, I would look here and here and here, you know what I mean? So there's endless amount of resources. So I love that. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and explaining what you do every day, how you use the oils every day with yourself, but also with your pets as well. So that is so huge. I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.